Hey, thanks for listening to the first episode of Storied, a podcast where we take one kind of media and transform it into another kind of media.
So what does that mean? It means that we take a book or a movie, something like that, and turn it into something like a video game or an arcade cabinet.
Yes!
A whole cabinet. Our first episode is about Overwatch, the wildly popular video game from Blizzard Entertainment. We're going to be taking Overwatch and turning it into a Saturday morning cartoon.
But first, why don't we do our quick introductions? I'm Harrison Pink. I've been a game designer for almost 10 years.
I'm Sean Ainsworth. I'm currently a creative director at a game studio.
I'm Chris Rebbert, and I'm a filmmaker who currently is working in game cinematics and game direction.
You're a filmmaker. I make films too, but I haven't made them for a long time.
I made private
films.
Pornos.
No.
Adult private films.
Yeah.
It's just like me eating spaghetti and stuff.
So pornos.
So by Saturday morning cartoons, we're kind of mostly talking about action-oriented cartoons from the late 80s, early 90s, kind of like G.I. Joe or X-Men, something like that.
Ninja Turtles.
Right, exactly.
We actually kind of started getting together and having these conversations on our own, kind of just getting drunk and having fun. So we thought it might be fun for other people to listen to. Maybe you'll disagree. Let's find out.
I think the hope here is that we take something, analyze it, break it down into its parts, and then kind of, in doing so, figure out what made it work and what we have to maintain to make it into something else.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a certain amount of sort of critical analysis, not to get too dry, about things that we feel like work or things that we like and we want to latch onto and pull out and sort of turn into a different thing.
Yes.
So we were talking earlier before the show, and Chris, it sounded like you had a pretty interesting way to jump off into.
Can we, first of all, though, I wanted to say, I think we're varying addiction levels.
Yeah.
I am fully addicted to that game. Play it every day. And
yeah,
you're stop playing it. It's ridiculous. I hate myself how much I play the game.
Yeah, I'm not quite there, but I do, if I don't get to play it after a couple of days, I'm get testy with my fiance, and I just need to give me 20 minutes. I'm going to play 2 games, which always turns into an hour at least.
Yeah.
But and we're always angry at the end of it, too. Because we just...
No, that's the one thing, is I won't let myself stop playing angry.
Okay,
I have to have a good game, but then sometimes that means I play for 40 more minutes.
Until you're happy.
Yeah. 3 hours later.
It's a good way to play more. Yeah.
Well, it's like a weird energy to leave a game at you know what I mean? You're supposed to have a good time.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun.
And then if you just leave and somebody was playing cheaply and you lost and you're your whole team sucks.
So just playing Symmetra.
Yeah.
One more.
It's just such a bad energy to go back into your life with.
Yeah.
I need to kind of feel accomplished, and then I can close the computer.
I'm only ranked 20. I think
I'm at 309 now.
Yeah, I think you are.
I
put in a fraction of the hours that you have for sure, Sean.
Who do you main, Harrison?
I'm a Torbjorn.
You are totally a Torbjorn.
I love Torbjorn.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Mainly because it maps straight to Engineer from Team Fortress.
Which is funny because I didn't play Engineer in Team Fortress 2.
No, I
played Sniper, and I played the Pyro, and I played the Scout. Those are my 3. I don't know why. I really, really liked the Sniper in that game, but for some reason I just can't play Widowmaker. People just are way too hard to hit with Widowmaker.
Yeah.
So I just gave up on that.
Yeah.
So.
How about you, Chris?
I love Tracer. I still flop between Tracer and Soldier, and then if I have to,
Soldier's a good backup.
Yeah, well, it depends. I should play Soldier as defense really well. So it's usually if we have attack, I'm Tracer, and then if we're on defense, I'm Soldier.
Oh, okay.
Unless the comp doesn't call for it. But I kind of suck as support in every other class, so I kind of
you got to branch out, man.
Yeah, I always do, and then my team loses every time. I'm okay as a couple tanks, Roadhog and Reinhardt. But that's about it.
How about you?
I play literally everyone as much as I can.
That's true. Yeah, you really do.
The problem is that
which sounds super egotistical to say.
No, I know, but
really
I get bored. But the nice thing about the game is that you can get bored and then switch over to somebody. So right now I'm trying to learn Sombra, and I've been playing Sombra like crazy. I'm trying to learn Sombra, and I've been doing better, at first it was really hard and people in the chat were shitty when I wouldn't switch off, but I'm trying to learn, so, but now I've gotten to the point where I feel like I can contribute most matches with her. And then, but I mean, I would say I'm more of a tank guy. I definitely am better with Zarya or Reinhardt.
Yeah, your shields as Reinhardt are awesome.
And so it's and then I play pretty good Lucio. So,
but that's
Tracer I'm good at.
I think this is a good way to transition into a thing.
Yeah,
is because what's great about Overwatch. Like, what's my favorite part about the design of that game? It's every character is so unique in terms of the gameplay, but then also like if you have a bad team, then you are going to lose unless like you have one or two amazing people.
It really is teamwork for sure.
Yeah, it's like if you're not balanced. So like with that in mind, it's like I think that the most thing that we should do to make the Saturday morning cartoon version of Overwatch is pick our main cast, our main team. And we're not going to balance necessarily their design and like tactical, but like
there's no tank on this team.
But I mean like that. I think we should think about that at least in terms of the main heroes.
I think that's
but I think you want a good comp.
Be anal about it, right?
Your good comp is your main heroes,
but you also want a good spread of like personalities and like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? There's like the like geeky one and the like rude one and the party animal.
No, I think that exists in the game now.
That's what I'm saying. Like we should think about that as well, so their personalities as well as their like roles in the
totally. Yeah,
and it's like but then you kind of think of your main character,
right?
And it's I think about. One of the cartoons I grew up on was the X-Men animated series. It was a team, and then there's also like Captain Planet, and there's another one that's coming to mind. But I think like I remember in the first episode of X-Men, like you meet the X-Men through Jubilee. It was like nobody's favorite character. Yeah, but like
I just blanked that because I don't even remember that happening. Like that's how uneventful that.
All I remember about that show is that I watched it sometimes.
I remember the theme song.
That's all I remember.
That's all I remember.
Let's talk about amazing theme songs and how we'll make one for Overwatch later.
That would be good.
But I think it's like the way that X-Men worked was the first, you met them through Jubilee, and then like as the series went on, like pretty quickly actually you kind of like, episodes became character-centric.
Right.
So like...
Yeah, and that makes sense in terms of like, you have a large ensemble, like you're not going to be able to focus on everybody every episode because it's just going to get, like what story are you telling?
Right.
I can totally see that mapping to this game.
But
this TV show.
What I like about that is it really does work in that sort of like G.I. Joe genre where like you have pockets of G.I. Joe squads around the world that you'll go on an episode and meet a squad of people from like Eastern Europe or something. And like that's the group from that area or like Africa.
Where you meet like like Zarya's on the team or whatever and then you go back to Russia and then she meets like you meet the Russian people, the mafia that she knew before. It's like there's like a culture clash there. Yeah, and she has to like be in the middle. Yeah.
I think Zarya is a really good pick actually for the main squad for sure. Like, okay, so we can just start throwing out names, right? Like Tracer is on the box, and she's a pretty like as far as like a Jubilee equivalent.
Yeah,
except way more useful, right? But like that's pretty close. Like high energy, young, like enthusiastic. Like,
she's also I think. Canonically, I might be wrong, but I think she's the youngest person on the whole, except for Risa, I guess. So Risa just came out, and she's a couple weeks ago. We're just so you know where we are. We're currently in the Uprising. Overwatch Uprising is currently going on.
Well, it's interesting because Tracer is like it's her first mission.
Totally.
Yeah, which is really cool to see, and like, but she's like super into it, right? Like she's super excited to be part of the team. She's really enthusiastic. She's super young. And what I like about that is you can get that like that Marty McFly effect of like explain to me what's going on, so the viewer can also understand what's going on. You can get that like through the lens of like her being like a new member of the team or something. Like would we set this like during that period? Like would we set this like Overwatch is recruiting? Or?
I think you could actually do. I mean, like some of those shows did like flashback episodes, and I could totally see flashing back to the Uprising era. But then also, the main era is where the current game is, which is, it's been years, and now they kind of have to get back together, and then you have Talon. It's such a good name for Talon is, if you don't know, if you're just listening to this, there's all this lore we're just kind of reading up on, and we're not super familiar with it. It's kind of going to hopefully help us kind of craft it, but we wanted to be familiar enough with it that we folded it in. And the main antagonists of the Overwatch squad are called Talon.
Yeah, not a Cobra.
Which just sounds exactly like Cobra.
Is it an acronym?
I hope it is. I hope it is, but I don't know if it is.
Tactical. I forgot. That's all I got.
Yeah,
I know. Tactical.
That's
asshole.
it. It's just tactical
asshole. And then LON.
We can't just call it tactical asshole, guys.
Legion of Nightmares. I don't know. Like. Anyway, please finish your thought.
You lost an eye there.
Oh, Talon.
Oh no, it is Italian as well.
Italian. Battalion.
Yeah.
Right, you had a point. You were saying that like Talon is the enemy, like the bad G.
Talon's the enemy. I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna map this to a Saturday morning cartoon, it's like ready made for that.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Which is why we discussed ahead of time that was going to be what we were going to do, because it's it all the kind of colorful characters and all the sort of tone of it is that very arcadey. I remember when I first fired the game up, it looked like a fighting game to me.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is weird. It's weird for a first-person shooter to have this kind of aesthetic, but it like so works. Like all the music works together with it. I think the first thought you sort of have is that this is just fun, and that's kind of what those Saturday morning cartoons were. They weren't taking themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to talk about the squad makeup, right?
So Tracer for sure.
So Tracer is probably our key, like our it's her first day on the job. It's like her first day back,
Yeah, right. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
You need to have that like wise mentor, Professor X-esque character, right? Which could be Winston or it could be
Soldier.
Yeah,
the Soldier's weird though. Like if you watch like there's the one short of him, Hero, where he's kind of gone like rogue and gotten really
like murdering
dark. Yeah, I mean he doesn't, but he does.
yeah.
Like
more or less.
So is he just the Wolverine where he like pops in when it's convenient for him and there's like bails for like?
Well, I feel like he's kind of like the Duke of like if we're at this G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Duke?
He
wasn't necessarily the leader, but he was, he was definitely like a very respected soldier.
Yeah,
and he was like looked up to as like he knew his shit.
Yeah.
You could rely on Duke to get the job done.
Like he'd go into his room and he'd be like cleaning his guns, and he'd be like, when I ask him a question, he would want to respond to you.
But he's also really gruff. Yeah.
He's Wolverine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's for sure.
But he's
for G.I. Joe analogy for sure. I think Duke makes a lot of sense.
But he's also was the leader, so there's a difference there, which is kind of was in at least a different shade on this cartoon show, because Wolverine was like just that rogue guy that became the de facto leader sometimes and just kind of like provided the right path when nobody else wanted to admit it or do certain things, but like he was the leader, so that'd be an interesting thing to kind of like follow, and I think that he probably, in my mind, he's not on the team, like he's somebody who might enter the team in the first episode, like he's somebody that like doesn't want to come back,
right?
But like
he's
kind of forced back in.
Yeah, I like that, and especially I like the fact that he used to be the leader, but it's just like abdicates that responsibility to someone who wants it. He's like, look, I'll help you out, but I'm not interested in running it this time.
Well, so clearly something happened to his face.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So he's like, you punks.
He just has that like weird Bane mask over, like
yeah.
He was presumed dead. I was reading about this, and like there was like an explosion or something where like the Overwatch base
scorched his vocal cords. It made it really.
But then also,
both him
I gotta buy a leather jacket.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird. It's like it's a biker jacket.
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
fully that. With just like the 76 logo from like the gas stations. It's a Harley Davidson jacket.
Yeah, it was like a sponsored bike, like a motorcycle racer's jacket, and he just stole it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But anyway, so like he definitely does feel like that kind of like they want him to be involved, but he's I'm past my prime,
right? Yeah, he's got like he's beset by like bad memories or whatever.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. He breaks down crying one episode.
All right, so who else we got?
I think Winston's
got to be, because he kind of got the Overwatch team back together.
Right. Yeah.
Like the Overwatch short, I can't remember which one's called, but when he's like pinging them all and like trying to get them back, and like Reaper's attacking him in his lab, where he's eating peanut butter
and bananas or whatever.
Yeah.
I think Mercy's a lock too.
Mercy. Yeah, I can see that too. Like you want to have that like wise, like female character who like has been on the front lines, like knows what it's like, and be like a mentor character to Tracer. Like she's been through it.
I think that's Anna though.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Anna should be in it because then there'd be a tie to Farrah.
Yeah,
like Farrah would be like a guest star occasionally.
I feel like Anna should see. I think that Farrah, if you want Farrah in the main cast, then Anna should be a character that gets like visited, but isn't like in the main like the guys we see every day cast.
She's like the wisest old sage.
Yeah, like you visit them. Yeah. Like you visit them. Like I don't know what to do. I need to talk to someone. You go like talk to like Guinan in Star Trek or whatever. You go to like the bar and you talk to the bartender kind of thing. Like I think that you'd want her in that role.
It's Whoopi Goldberg is playing.
Yes, correct. Yep.
I had the character right?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't remember.
No, it's good. You pulled that right out of your butt.
Yeah.
And but Mercy too. I don't know. Just kind of the cliche thing to do, but it's like because she's the healer, right?
Yeah.
And super useful, but like
She's the doc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like kind of like you could play her as, in some level of comic relief. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like she'd be a little airhead. I mean, we're gonna.
It's funny. I didn't think of it that way.
She doesn't have much of a
I see it
character.
the opposite way. What I think would happen with her is she stays at the base most of the time as the doc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you see her occasionally, like in the tents or whatever, at the Overwatch base. Like you go back and like there's always a scene with her where she's patching somebody up.
Well, she's like the Jean Grey of the team to me.
No,
like she's like been around.
Way powerful, right? Like she goes out in the field and like.
But not all the time. I'm talking about in the animated series version.
I'm trying to remember my memories of that show, and I feel like Jean Grey was in that pretty consistently, but maybe I'm wrong.
She was often kind of like tethered to Professor X.
Okay, we should not do that.
And like, she would be back in the mansion, and then every once in a while she'd come out on a mission.
Yeah, exactly.
And then her like mind power would explode, right. But she wasn't often.
But that's what I think. That's what I'm thinking of Mercy is like she's the team doctor. She mostly stays at the mansion, quote unquote, Overwatch Central, and then occasionally she goes out. On missions, and she's awesome.
Yeah,
she's like got damage boost.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think so. If we're gonna do that, then we should definitely like have like okay. So back in the 80s, like those 80s cartoon shows, for better or worse, they pretty much slotted a person's personality into a very specific role, right? So like the doctor character had a lot of like advice or like
she's wise.
And she would like come to you or like just even like. I went on this date. I don't know what to say to this girl or whatever. She would give you like almost like
hey,
motherly
stab
advice
me or whatever.
Yeah,
and you're just like what?
So the line is, I for sure because I've heard this a bunch of times now. Heroes never die for a price.
Yes,
I didn't realize that when I first like.
But when you're on the other team, when she's on the other
says
team,
it
she says German. I think she's German.
I think Swedish. I'm pretty Swedish.
Is she Swedish?
No, because Torbjorn.
I thought Torbjorn's Swedish. I think Reinhardt and Mercy are both German.
Okay. So the point is that the fact that she says, everyone always just says heroes never die as her like thing, but it's like ... for a price. Like,
yeah, what is the price? We find that out in season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
season 2. Yeah, it's the cliffhanger. It's
some dark price
dealing with the devil.
Well, she has some like big debt.
It's like Reaper. Reaper's there at the end, like giving Mercy some like
medical supply,
whatever. Yeah.
No, I like the idea that she has some like tie to her old life that like a not a mobster, but like some sort of like big debt that she has to like pay off. That secretly she's got some other shit going on. It's kind of cool. But yeah, so anyway, the point I was trying to make was like the doctor character always has like the wise like emotional advice for like not like plot heavy shit.
Well, it's like you talk to them while
like,
they're getting patched up. They have a conversation.
Yeah, like I went on this date with this girl. I don't know what to say to her. She's got like motherly like. Well, you should say this to her. Like that kind of advice. Like that fully feels like something Mercy would fill that role.
And like oddly enough, like I think of that scene in the movie. X-Men movie with Jean Grey's patching up the first one.
Okay.
Where Jean Grey's like patching up Wolverine. And then they have like that talk and like I feel like that's like
yeah, totally.
I feel like that is a good I feel like Mercy as like the sort of maternal towards Tracer, at least in the front, like kind of like that's why she goes there because like and we haven't fully established like where we start the story because I know like Tracer was like born out of time or something.
No,
really
she was in
weird.
like an experimental jet that like exploded and then she got like she's like her time
she was
thing is
like
like she gets thrown all over the place. So she has to wear that harness like all the time to like lock her down or something like that.
So I imagine like if we have that event in the pilot, this is just a version.
No, for sure, we got to have the like origin story episode for sure.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And then like Overwatch rescues her and she gets brought back, and then like Mercy's the first person she feels like she can actually talk to, who's like. Well, her and Winston's working on it has just created the contraption that like helps her
timeline wise, and I'm going to be a total lore dork because just like for the show to make sense, right? Like if that would have happened way before her first day on Overwatch, and that's Uprising era stuff, right? Like her first.
But I think you could open the show that.
That's
way.
what I'm trying to say, right? Like you open the show with that, and then you just like cut forward,
right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you can have them refer
she's like RoboCop. She wakes up in the
exactly.
Yeah. The RoboCop sequence.
This first person with people like
she's like warping all over the place. They're trying to catch her.
Yeah, no, I love it.
That would be a cool first scene as Tracer's origin.
Yeah, just like in the jet, and like that feels super.
Probably too. There's also like somebody else is there. It's like Soldier was there.
Yeah,
like watching.
Yeah,
he was there observing that day.
Yeah,
so then, like later on in the season or like the episode, like. welcome to Overwatch, and she just knows his voice.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like how it
in
ends.
the earpiece.
Yeah.
What or if you want to do full like that era cartoon, you'd have like a shadow in the background somewhere, and you're like, that was Reaper the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Later on, like season 5.
Yeah, he sabotaged it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you go back and watch the first episode.
Yeah,
and he actually, like, sabotaged
it's
it.
always been there.
Yeah.
But you leave like a blob, so you don't know who it is, because you don't know who it's going to be until like it makes sense in the story.
Yeah,
Well, he could be just a black smoke cloud.
Right, but I'm saying like you just leave like, well, season 40 is a cliffhanger. I have no fucking idea. I don't know. What if it turns out that Reaper is the reason blah 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 happens, and you can just go back and retcon all that stuff back in.
But then, like, you have that jet scene, and like it's like it ends on like, oh my god, what happened? Where and then like all of a sudden, like Tracer comes to, and she wakes up, and then there's this fucking talking gorilla.
Yeah, exactly. Holy shit!
Yeah. She screams, and then he like screams like a girl, and like falls backwards.
What? That's definitely something that's been done before, right? Like, what movie or television?
It's everything.
I know, but I'm trying to like give me a specific reference.
I feel like it actually happened in X-Men with Beast.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
So every fish out of water like story about a human or of some kind entering into a supernatural environment, there's always that beat.
Yeah. I mean, it actually, have you ever seen, there's like an X-Men pilot from the 80s called Pride of the X-Men?
I love that you know it. I love that you know the name.
I was a huge X-Men fan when I was
awesome.
a kid. I kind of stopped caring, but...
about anything in life in general.
But there was this like failed pilot, and it was similar. It was the same thing. It was Kitty Pryde. Like, she was a mutant, and then like, I can't remember how it started. It's been a while since I've seen it, but then like, she gets brought to the X-Mansion, she sees Nightcrawler for the first time. And she's like, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah.
And then...
I was like, I'm a mutant, but that's weird!
Yeah. So she doesn't know.
Yeah. Or you could even do the, like, V for Vendetta thing, where she, like, just wakes up in a room, and then she, like... Or, like, even in The Matrix. She, like, wakes up in a room and doesn't know what's going on, and then he, like, pushes the door open, and there's, like, people just bustling around doing their daily things, and she just walks by a bunch of weird shit. And a bunch of weird people doing weird stuff, and then finds Winston, like, cooking or something really banal. He's like, oh, look who's awake. Let me introduce you to blah, blah. Like, that's
it's pronounced banal, I think.
Is it banal? Yeah, you're probably right. I think it's probably one of those things that I've always said a specific way.
Yeah, that's funny.
I didn't know what you meant. I just didn't...
Yeah, I think I've always just pronounced it that way because I never had heard it said
really
out loud.
funny.
Well, I learned something new today.
Yeah, she walks in the kitchen after she's been scared by Winston and talked to Mercy, and then like Winston's like cooking with his feet.
Yeah.
And then, like, the stove goes up, and then Torgoran's like, I got it.
Yeah.
Like,
Perfect. I love it.
That's a good scene.
So we got
What
Mercy.
the hell am I doing here?
That was a fantastic interpretation.
Oh, thank you.
So we have Tracer as the like main character, or the
least the start.
introducing the
Introduction character.
the introduction character. Mercy, Winston, Soldier.
I think Reinhardt would be there.
Yeah, Reinhardt.
But I want to talk about Torb because
Torb is okay. So Torb's our
the engineer.
Torb's
You
our
gotta have
engineer
the
guy. He's our weapons guy. That's what he was anyway in the canon. You know, he was kind of like the guy who made all their weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's definitely like our mechanic, right?
Yeah.
It's like a combination of like Gimli and Tony Stark. Like,
Yeah, but he's also like he's Donatello. He's a lot of whenever you need a cool gadget for like a MacGuffin for an episode, he's the one who like does that, right? Or like even in the uprising missions where like something breaks down, he has to like fix it mid mission, or like the comic relief or something he built doesn't work quite the way he thought it would, and like that's just like such a rich vein of character, you know.
Yeah, he's got a claw hand, so it's like. There's a lot of comedy to be mined out of like him opening cans with it and shits, you know, just like
squeezes them like Popeye.
Yeah, I'm not a can opener or whatever. You know,
I still have no idea how he reloads his gun. It's just like
he just pours lava.
Yeah, it's just like magic lava comes out of it and
molten core. Maybe
it just always has on hand.
That's definitely an episode named Molten Core.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. They're all of their ultimates are named episode names at some point.
It's just their alt.
Yeah,
we have to have like 2 umlauts over the O or something.
Yeah. Well, their episode is called Tactical Visor. That's the lamest episode title of all time. But yeah,
good. I'm glad I don't even know the
Pulse Bomb. You know.
God, yeah, that'd be awful. However, Molten Core is a great one. I think also just the fact that
what's about Torbjorn's past and his he's apparently like he's like a grandfather. He's got like 1 million grandkids or something. They're just like there's. I haven't read the newest comic. There's a new comic. No, but I mean I think he. I
hope that'd be awesome.
He has a big family.
Okay,
like and he's
like a hobbit.
Yeah,
or a dwarf.
Yeah.
But he's like apparently got a lot of a lot of kids and stuff. So there's like a new like they have a highlight intro for him now where he's like leafing through.
I did see that. Yeah,
like a photo book with all of his grandkids in it. And then he hugs his turret.
Yeah,
like an asshole.
I thought it was. I thought the picture he was looking at was his turret.
No. There's like a picture of all of his grandkids in this book apparently, and he just like looks over and like squeezes the turret into the camera frame.
Like, oh, you're my child.
Yeah, I love you best of all.
So can we make a pact right now that we'll never use the line, like, the greatest invention I ever made was you, to his child? Please?
No, we have to use that.
No, because that's already been done twice in 2 different media.
What?
It was done in Goonies, and it was done in Iron Man 2. Do that,
Is
right?
That Data's dad or something? Who says that in the Goonies?
I don't remember the name of the kid.
The main kid?
No, the kid with, like, all the gadgets.
Data.
Yeah, Data.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's just at the very end, when he's, like, hugging him.
Yeah.
When he's hugging him, it's like the end line for that character.
Huh.
And then also Tony Stark's dad says it to him in Iron Man 2. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, that was a cool tangent. Tormund definitely doesn't say that, right?
No. Right.
It's a Tiny One cartoon, though. He has to say
okay,
it.
shit, you're right. Sorry.
Well, no, but there's a Christmas episode where, Tormund...
God, there's got to be a Christmas episode,
yeah,
yes!
Definitely.
There's definitely one, and, like, we find out, like, during the episode that he's got all these kids.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Or he got all these grandkids.
And Reinhardt dresses up like Santa.
Wait, no.
Tormund dresses up like Santa.
He has the Santa.
He already has a
No,
Santa
they're
skin.
fighting over who's a better Santa. The whole episode.
So hang on, so
That'd be great.
Is it an episode where he, like, is sitting in a chair by, like, a hearth narrating the, like, let me tell you a story of whatever, like, is he, or is it, like...
No, I think it's like he's like got a secret going on, you know what I mean? Like Mercy or somebody is dressing up the Overwatch Central, and then, like, he walks by with, like, a satchel, you know what I mean? It's like slung over his shoulder. I'm like, what's in the satchel, Torgor? And he's like, none of your business, you know, and then, like, he like goes away, and like it's like a mystery throughout the episode, and then later on you find out that he's like heartwarmingly dressing up like Santa Claus for his grandkids.
I like that. Yeah, I love that, because you could also just have that be like, is he betraying us? Like, something bad's happening, and it's just like super warm and like heartwarming.
It's like everybody's talking about it like the whole time, and it turns out that it's nothing. It's just a sweet thing.
I also like genuinely like the fact that, I mean, Overwatch's story is pretty, like, it's not like super deep emotionally, whatever, at this point, but I like the idea that he created all this technology that is now like I don't think he created the Omnics, but he created a ton of that, like, I don't know the lore specifically, but he created a ton of the technology that is now being used by like terrorists and stuff, and he feels super like upset about that. But what I like about it is he hasn't like sworn off tech forever. He's like, I'll never touch another hammer again. He's like,
he feels responsible for it. And
I need to fix this problem that I made, so I'm going to be a part of this team. And like, I think that's a really cool. It's not like torture. He's not like how these like horrible memories necessarily. That's probably more of a soldier thing. But like the idea that he feels obligated to do this thing, like, this is my fault, I need to correct this, is a really interesting like gateway into some interesting characters.
So then, with that being said, that is interesting. So then, is he part of the team at the front of the series?
I think he has to be, because you need all.
Well, maybe there's a little bit of that soldier idea too, where you have to convince him to come back.
Yeah,
you know? Like that's an episode. You know,
you have to go and like navigate through all of his 100 grandkids or whatever.
Yeah. Excuse me, coming through.
Yeah, it's like, is he even here? And it's just like he's just behind a couple of kids.
Yeah, they're all the same height. Yeah,
yeah.
No, the way I would spin that is that he's in there to start, but there's an episode where he like loses faith, and he like either is going to bail or like he just doesn't want to do it. Like, so he sees some like horrible occurrence that occurs because of his technology, like firsthand, and he's like, okay, F this, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. And
then it's up to the characters to be like, you can still do good, you can still fix this, and like bring him back into the fold. Like he ditches, or even just like goes AWOL, like he just goes rogue and you don't know where he's gone. And they have to go get him and bring him back. Because I think that's something that you want to have on a slow burn. Like he seems like he's kind of come to terms with it, and then just sometimes he just has like situations that he sees. And
well,
like,
I can see.
Sucks.
So one thing I can see happening is like, you know, I mean, it feels like we're kind of talking about setting this like where the game is set, which is that the Omnic crisis has already occurred. It's sort of shaken out. Overwatch sort of won, but now Talon is kind of trying to reclaim some stuff. They're stealing the Doomfist gauntlet.
Right.
So, you know, I think there's a story to be had where, you know, Omnics are being they're coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that feels like what it's about. It's like they're coming back, and they're like this terrorist faction of them, and then there are the good ones, you know.
Yeah.
And like Zenyatta sort of shows up as he's like ambassador.
Yeah.
You know, which I think he kind of is. Like I think and I don't know. Again, I'm a little fuzzy.
It's kind of like a wandering monk character.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I feel like he also, sort of represents the sort of trying to be harmonious between humans and omnics or whatever.
Yeah,
and there's still a lot of like friction there, but it's like I see him showing up in that capacity, and then evil omnic showing up and him having to come up and like defend that not all omnics are this way. Yeah. Don't forget that this is just a small faction of them. And that could lead to some interesting stuff where, Talon is like, forcing this to come back, and they're like foot soldiers, like the Foot Clan, right? Like the evil Omnics are like the Foot Clan to the Talon, like, main group.
Yeah. I did actually wanted to touch on that, but it's not like you had a...
I was just going to say that, like, I don't think that we have to, for our series, like, be canonical. Like, you know what I mean? It's like whatever works. Like, right. if Tracer doesn't come part of the team in ours until after the Omnic Crisis, and she she gets rescued by what's left of the Overwatch, who don't necessarily call themselves Overwatch, which is like Winston, Mercy, and whoever else we decide is in that group. Like, because we kind of have to, you're going to have to find a way in. Like, I mean, like in all, a lot of the adaptations, they're not canonical. It's like, it's not with the movies. It's not the comics. It's its own separate thing, so it's, we can decide that, and it's just, we don't have to feel like we have to follow.
No, that's totally but I also feel like there's a lot of ready-made stuff there that we should use as an adaptation. I think, it's like they've already thought out a lot of it, and
right.
And using that stuff as intelligently as we can to kind of like, change it where you need to, but still keep it there because it's there. I mean, like,
and I'm not saying not
right.
do that, but I mean, like, you're talking about where to set it, and it's like, everything we talk about
can work exactly. The order of events for sure.
I feel like a lot of these Saturday morning cartoons also used to they had like a main, like, G.I. Joe. There was like a main problem, which was the Cobra, right? But that wasn't always about Cobra.
That's true.
Yeah, no,
like, not every week was Cobra.
I think mostly what it was like kind of was like the A-Team, and I was going to suggest this for that. Like, what we've been talking about so far is like the pilot, when every episode looks like week to week. It's like a lot of, you can't just fight the same people for the same reasons every week, or else it gets really, unless you're doing like Breaking Bad or something where it's like really serialized and like really good, and but that's not what this is going to be. This is going to be
it's not going to be really good.
This is going to be 22 minutes between toy commercials. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, it has to be accessible, and if a kid can sit down and watch it any time, they're not going to have to watch it in order.
That's a really good point. You have to have it in such a way that, like, Talon is the quote unquote bad guys, and Overwatch is the quote unquote good guys, and there's like events that happen. You don't have to. There's once in a while you get like 2 or 3 episode arcs, but for the most part, it's pretty much just watch it anywhere you want. Right?
Yeah, and I feel like you have like if you have a 22 episode season or whatever, you have like 15 of those feature Talon. In some capacity, like 10 of them are all about Talon schemes.
Yeah,
and then the X-Files, like A thread stuff, and then you have the Monster of the Week stuff.
Right, and the remaining like 7 are those. The remaining 7 are just different. Like, we're gonna help out the nuns this week.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and you could have the fun. Like, that's where you pick your main cast, right? And then you also have like, they go to Australia because there's been like all this crime, and then that's where they encounter Junkrat and Roadhog, totally. And like those will be recurring villains, but not as much as like Reaper and stuff. Yeah. And then like and then like all of a sudden there's like something with Zenyatta, and like he's trying to keep peace because there's been this rogue robot, and that's when we meet Bastion because he just woke up and started just blowing the hell out of a forest, and just accidentally hit somebody, and then like there's this like, it's kind of like they're kind of fighting Bastion, but starting to get to know that there's more of a story there, and like become kind of like a neutral ally.
Well, and also like weirdly, like the Saturday morning cartoons used to do things where like episodes would start with another character you'd never met before. Like I can see the episode starting with Bastion and just following Bastion for a while, and then Bastion encounters Overwatch
from his perspective.
Yeah, and then they start to get involved, and then it becomes sort of an omniscient thing. But like initially, like the story is actually about Bastion, right? And like that's how you introduce him. Is the whole episode is about him, her. I just read that it was a she potentially online. I don't know what's real.
Yeah, it's whatever you want it to be.
Well, but
if there is a canon gender, we should probably use that.
Well, I get, but it begs the question that we should probably look up, because I'm sure somebody already has figured it out or knows it. But like, are Omnics gendered?
That's a good point.
In any way,
or is every Bastion off the assembly line a he or a she, or is this one particularly different because it's like somewhat sentient? And so I wanted to say, like, in the vein of the things we're talking about, like, a lot of episodes that at least I remember from G.I. Joe or X-Men or like Captain Planet or whatever, it would be like you'd have the main villains like initiate some sort of crisis and then just kind of like rescind into like they disappear into the shadows and you never see them again. Like the bad guys would cause some like evil monster to appear and then bail.
Yeah, mostly
and then
like
the evil monster would be the thing that you would fight.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they'd show up to like initiate the whole situation and
where they would
like
steal something.
Right.
And get away,
yeah,
but leave the monster behind that the
the
Overwatch has to contend with.
Yeah,
now.
exactly right. So you can have
like we can't just leave them,
right? And the thing about Talon, right, is
I don't
that
know who that was.
No, whichever character you think it should be.
Yeah.
I
That's
think,
our new character.
Oh,
Gomer.
our Gomer.
Gomer. Yeah.
It's a really good thing. But like, I like the idea that like. Because Talon, at least as far as what Blizzard has talked about, is pretty small. It's like 4 people, really, like 4 or 5 people. So that's not a ton of like, unless you have like faceless Talon soldiers, the way like Cobra kind of does it,
right?
I
don't think so. It feels like they're more like they're more like Cobra in that way, where
like evil Overwatch.
Cobra didn't really. I mean, I don't remember right, but they didn't have like faceless soldiers.
They do.
Right?
No, they totally do.
Cobra? What are you talking about? They had
tons
every friggin' action figure that they could possibly think of would be.
Yeah, but they were all individuals.
No, they had so many like troopers. It was like Alley Trooper something.
Oh, really? They did. Yeah, they had faceless trooper guys.
Wow.
I think they were. I think the lore's like a clone machine. They were like clone soldiers or some nonsense.
Oh.
But the idea like. We would have to pick, right? We would have to say, like, this is Talon just like evil Overwatch and there's just a squad of them, like the baddies in Captain Planet, or is it like?
I think it's like a James Bond thing where they are like
Spectre.
They're like a small cabal of people who are just like
causing mischief.
Trying to their own ends. They're causing chaos elsewhere,
right?
In order to achieve that.
But because of that, there's only so many of them. Like you said, Chris, you can't see those people on screen every single episode. You want an episode where, like, this is the Widowmaker and Reaper episode. This is the Sombra episode. Like, you want to like.
You'd have to get creative too, like in how you weave them in. Like, and this is the really dumb Saturday morning cartoon idea I've been having. But it's like you'd watch like the A-Team. I watched it recently, and like
good.
It'd be like. There's this like group of like ex-military mercenaries, and they'd be helping like a freaking like 80-year-old woman not lose
her house,
lose her diner or something to like the local mafia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
that.
like and then like the government would find out and like try to get into the A-Team, and then they would start cooperating with the mafia or something stupid. So like that's how you'd weave them in. Like you'd have like. Somebody calls out to the Overwatch because they're about to lose like their public park or something stupid, and then like
it's pretty benign for a kids show. Like that's the level of banality. Banality.
But they,
I think so.
But they'd be like bullied, and then the Overwatch would go to combat the bullies, and then like all of a sudden, Talon would find out
pulse bombs
that like this like crooked corporation was going to take over the park, and then like they would be like, "Oh, we can help fight the Overwatch if you give us money and fund our stuff." You know what I mean? Exactly, it's like you'd have to like weave them in really.
There's a great like they show up like at the ribbon cutting ceremony, and like it's Widowmaker there cutting the ribbon, and they're just staring at them, and it's like, what is this all about, And then they have to like uncover it.
I like the idea that there is just other stuff happening, just because like the
she shoots the ribbon. From the 3,000
she didn't even show up. Yeah. Where is she?
it's like who's going to cut the ribbon? And then like a gunshot goes off, and they all turn around, and she's like a mile away.
Yeah, but I like the idea because I could be wrong in the canon, but I'm pretty sure like they weren't ever supposed to re-enable the Overwatch. Like the government was like shut them down. So the idea that they are the A-Team of like not disgraced, but like
they're operating a little bit against.
Yeah, like they're kind of hiding against the government. So the
vigilante.
So they're not going to stick the army on them, but like they also have to be careful and discreet, and like they can't just go in guns blazing. Like I like the idea that they're not hunted, but they're like the government's not going to be there to help them. And I think that's a cool like another like the government is not a bad guy, but like it sort of like can accidentally help.
You teach kids about bureaucracy.
Yeah,
like
don't trust them
by accident.
Yeah,
or on purpose.
So, is there anyone else we want to in this particular segment? Is there anything?
So let's just keep going real quick with this. Let's rename who we have. We have Tracer.
Yeah.
We have Torbjorn.
Yeah.
Reinhardt.
Yeah. We haven't talked about him yet, but we should.
We should talk about him. Mercy. Winston.
Two tanks. We need a defense.
The healer.
We have May, maybe?
Yeah, but May is somebody
May's
I think
cool.
like we could find.
You
like,
could have her as a scientist, right? Like,
she could also be like somebody they don't meet in the pilot. Like they just like
cool.
Skype her, and she's up in the Antarctic like doing her
she's
research.
just no job, where you just never.
I just read. I think that her backstory is that she, like everybody was in the Antarctic. All of her scientist friends died because of like some sort of cryostasis tank malfunction or something like that, and she's like the only survivor of that.
Yeah, and she has. That's why she.
Well,
can,
that's
like,
definitely an episode then for sure. Like she should definitely. If we want to talk about characters that will then slowly, because that's the thing too, right? Like you increase the size of your group as episodes and seasons go on.
Yeah.
That's definitely like okay, we're going.
It should be
to
a great ad too, because like suddenly you have Torbjorn, who's kind of like he's an engineer, and then Winston, who's a scientist, and she's kind of in between them. Feels like and like so like adding to. Like Winston can't handle everything by himself, but he won't admit it.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then she comes in, and she's like really, really smart, and then he like learns to, trust her by the end of the episode.
Yeah, he's like really protective of his workspace.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Don't touch that.
Yeah.
And then he like falls in love with her, and she's like, "You're a fucking gorilla." I'm not.
Yeah.
Poor Winston, Jesus. I was thinking find love.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, no. Like, he's just like, sorry. Get your toe
she's got a
feet
long
off
distance
me. Hand
boyfriend
feet
off
off me.
somewhere.
Yeah.
And
she just says that.
I'm a Canadian boyfriend.
It's just like it's like a running thing that you never meet him.
See him,
Yeah.
But it would be interesting though with May if she did start as like this like correspondent sort of like she was more like the science person. She didn't have her powers.
She's
yet.
like they consult her for like weather stuff. She's like the weather scientist.
Yeah.
Whenever there's weird weather happening, gotta call up our weather. There's always like they always call up a specific person in GI Joe or like Captain Planet or whatever. Like they always have a specific. This is the like nuclear expert. This is the weather expert. This is the like smog, whatever. There's always a person they can go to. So she would definitely be the like weather scientist that they have like stationed way off in the science station.
It'd be kind of fun too in that sense because you would like the cold open or whatever the teaser would happen. Then you like there'd be some element of it. You're like, oh, we're gonna get this character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you kind of be clued into who your special guest Overwatch person is gonna be.
That's a cool that's a good way to put it. Like the special guest characters for sure. I like that.
And I feel like there's a lot of them. Like Diva is not gonna be in the main cast. I don't think. Like she'll probably be somebody we revisit often.
Or one of those people that like stays around for like.
Well, she's
a couple of episodes.
I think her and Lucio both because they have this like. They have this, like, music career, or like
Diva.
Diva, I don't think
She's
professional.
Yeah, she's some movie posters too in the game.
Maybe they're making movies.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. She is. She's like a movie star. So like it's like her and then like Lucio are like famous, and they come across them frequently.
Yeah.
Or, like they'll come out and help, but they're not in the main
always
group.
traveling, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, what are you doing here?
But the Lucio episode is going to be my favorite episode because they have no idea he's like a superhero, and like Trish was just like a big fan, and she drags like Winston in like a stupid disguise.
Oh hell yeah! So he's just doing a set.
Yeah.
And then like, but all of his equipment is still like can do damage, but it's just like under the table. Like it's like pops out and like unfolds.
But he's got like bodyguards and like the fight and breaks out because like Tracer or whatever is there and Talon attacks him, and then he's like, all of a sudden he's like, I'm not getting out of here. I gotta help, and then he says, let's break it down. And then he starts helping them.
But he like grabs, he rips the woofer off, and attaches
turns
starts
into a
using
gun.
it as a gun. Yeah, turns it into a gun.
If we're gonna do that, then like you need to have Tracer and Winston like get ready to go. Like, oh, we're gonna save them, and as they're like getting ready, like Lucio's already in the fray. They're like, oh shit.
Or they start to rush after him, and like he like jumps over them.
Oh,
he starts a wall ride.
Oh man, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, what's even better is that Tracer's going to be trying to outrun something, and then she missteps and like gets hit, and not actually shot because nobody ever gets shot in a Ironwork cartoon, but like
it looks like she's in trouble.
Yeah, Widowmaker like snipes the pillar next to her or whatever, and it starts to fall, and then all of a sudden she starts to move, it's not fast enough, and then Lucio scoops her up, and he's like,
through.
yeah, and he's like,
woo!
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So that actually is something I wanted to touch on for the show, right? Like, is the level of violence because, like, in Ninja Turtles, all the Foot Clan were robots, so they could use their like weapons and kill, like, destroy and cut things open, but like oil and like gears would come out, right? But like G.I. Joe, everyone just shot lasers, and they get hit in the chest with a laser and just fall down, and like no blood, no bullets, nothing like that, right?
I think that's the level we're like. I mean, I feel like this is like it's also G.I. Joe did a lot of stuff. It's like they hit the boat and the boat exploded,
right?
But everybody fell out of it and they were fine.
Yeah.
Or like just stuff like that. I feel like is where we'd be landing there. Or like you have. Somebody's gonna use their like Reaper goes to like say he's like die, and then like Lucio uses his alt
Right,
know?
it seems like it's gonna be
and
really
it like
lethal,
saves
yeah.
everybody. You know, it's like a moment.
But like even in like the X-Men cartoon, there was like once in a while they'd have an episode where someone fully died.
Morph dies in like the first episode, but it's kind of like off screen.
And he comes back to evil.
He dies.
Yeah, okay.
For a while.
But like what I'm saying,
over
like,
a season.
I assume that at some point we'll have those darker episodes where someone like full on just like I mean
But yeah,
it doesn't go out in
then-
a gory way, but like just like gets a laser blast to the chest and
This is why the Mercy stuff is great to me because it's like there's a whole episode where they're like
I couldn't save him.
they're well no but whoever it is there in the bed.
Oh,
the
he's
whole time, and
slowly
they keep
dying,
checking in on him, and she's just watching over him, and
Yeah.
she's like, "I'll watch over you." You know,
Yeah.
so it's like it just matches up with all that shit.
No,
and
totally.
It's
that's why we started talking about this in the first place, right? Because it matches so perfectly. And I'm sure that was Blizzard's intent of like the like archetypes of characters and their personalities and their like roles in the game match so cleanly to that like Saturday morning cartoon. Like she's just like an angel. Yep, I think we get what she does. Like it's pretty obvious from looking at a character where like Reaper looks like a Grim Reaper. He's probably the bad guy. Like it's really overwrought with its like visual like symbolism. Like all the bad guy, like Reaper wears a skull mask. He's a bad guy. Like it's so on the nose with that stuff. I think that's
right, but it's very over the top in a very intentional way. It's like they intentionally made it so that you could look at that character and know something about them right off the bat. And
you literally can look at every character and kind of just know what their role is and their personality.
Yeah.
Which is
Junkrat's hair is on fire. He's probably a crazy, but like he's probably like
he's
got a peg leg.
And he's giggling and like twitching his hands and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's
super archetypal.
Yeah.
But like I think it's I mean it's totally why it lends itself so well to this kind of idea. I think because it kind of is there already.
Yeah,
it's in the same space. I don't think we're finding it very difficult to map anything to what we're talking about right now.
No.
And I think like I just thinking about McCree, like that guy is his sort of canon story is like he was an outlaw and then he was a good guy, and so he's an outlaw for the first half of the season and then he becomes a good guy.
Yep.
Like I feel like that guy
totally the Gambit.
Yeah, like there's an
100%.
episode where he's like robbing banks or whatever, and they go after him and he gets away.
Or they both like him, like he does a good job. And then, like, Overwatch goes after him, but so does Talon to, like, recruit him. And then he ends up leaving with Talon. And then, like, as the season goes on, he's like, you guys are evil. John Wayne would do this.
Yeah.
And then, he turns on them. You know?
I think you almost have him be, like, the asshole with the heart of gold, right? Or, like, he is robbing banks and being selfish.
He's the Wolverine, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Because, like, well, he's, like, super selfish and self-serving. And he's robbing banks and stealing money. And he's not giving it to sick kids or anything. But, like, he's keeping it. But, like, there is, like, a heart down there, and once they like get to it, and they're like elbowing him, like you're a good guy, really. Come on,
you find out that he's kind of Robin Hooding it a little bit, like not fully, but he's been stealing all this time, and then they find him like giving candy to kids, not creepy.
Yeah, but I like the idea that he is like, I'm not a good guy, whatever, and they're like, come on, you're a good guy, like elbowing him, like come on, you're a good guy. He gets all embarrassed for it, just like he's really like. Has that like defensive shield up about that kind of stuff.
Well, he acts good, but he doesn't say like his actions are the opposite of the way he is.
Right,
I feel like
or he speaks about himself.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say he's kind of like misguided. Like I feel like he's got what he thinks is cool, and that's what he keeps going for. But he's got a heart. You know what I mean? So it's like he keeps kind of trying to strive to be this thing. That he doesn't. That's not him.
Yeah,
but he's got a different image of who he thinks he's supposed to be.
Well, just the idea that,
which is a robotic cowboy in 21st century
with a Banff belt buckle.
I know that's the one. That actually is the one thing that actively annoys me about the game.
But that's so perfect for him.
I know.
It's just like that's so perfect for him.
Such a douche.
His pistols have like spurs on them. Like it's so like he's like what does a cowboy have? Like
yeah.
I think though like the idea that he is doing all these selfish things and then like. He's like a lone wolf. Like he doesn't trust anyone. He's in that like jail cell, just like
it's like even
playing harmonica or whatever. And then they bust him out. And he's like, I didn't need your help, whatever. Like I don't need anyone. And then he slowly learns to like trust and accept and all that. Sort of
stuff. And then like on the base, he's he keeps himself. He doesn't really like, but like you can tell he's like he cares.
Yeah, totally.
He gets involved with like I don't know. Like Tracer at some point, has a problem that he helps solve.
Yeah, he teaches her how to shoot more straight. It's hard to practice really bond or something.
Which so the other thing we need to talk about before we close it out, and I don't know how we've not touched on him yet. Genji is just purely like Snake Eyes kind of character.
100%.
Talks.
Yeah,
but like and Hanzo and their sort of relationship, I think, is one that like that starts as an episode. Like that starts as one that you see the two of them. Like probably you see the flashback version of Genji.
Yeah,
like when they're both young and whatever's going on. And we see it go down, and we see Genji, get betrayed.
Would you have it so that like it's kind of tough because Overwatch exists, right? But let's pretend it doesn't for a second, and this is the only like version of that media that exists. Would you just have Genji be around doing his thing, and then like there's an episode twist where he gets murdered, and you're like, like that's it, Genji's dead. Oh man, Hanzo killed him.
No, I think it's one of those ones where it's like a one-off. It tells the story of Genji and Hanzo for a while, and then you sort of see how that ties into the episode as a whole. Like Genji is introduced is in his current form, and we sort of hear his backstory.
Yeah.
It tells you his backstory. It's kind of like Harvey Dent in the Batman animated series. You kind of see him go through that. And it's not a flashback there, but like I think he's a character who shows up. He doesn't have a memory.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
And he's like, maybe he thinks he's evil. He's being brainwashed by Talon, and then he sort of realizes he's not, or he was at one point.
You just have the RoboCop like secret initiative that he doesn't know about that he tings is like it's like controlling him to do certain things. He doesn't know why or something.
Yeah, I mean something like that. I mean where he's just fully, he's a mystery for a while, and that's what they have to solve.
I feel like it would be weird having him in the main cast, at least at first, because he is kind of so remote and like and like
it feels like a lone wolf. It's like Shadow from Final Fantasy VI.
Yes, he even looks exactly like him.
Yeah, he just kind of like hops in, helps you out, and then disappears again.
Yeah, well, he's got his own mission. He's like off on his own, doing like. He's going to the top of the mountain to sit on it or whatever.
It's a really good mission.
Yeah,
what I feel like
to meditate.
What I feel like could be kind of cool though is like if you start his episode and like it's like there's some company built some big complex in Hanamura. Like you start and you're like on the guard, like the security guards, and like you get the sense that something is happening, like behind the scenes. Like there's somebody sneaking around and stuff, and then like all of a sudden you catch a glimpse of Genji and he like jumps out with his sword,
like,
but what he actually does is like slices an arrow in half that's about to hit the security guard and like saves it, and the guy like drops his coffee.
No, it's
like pisses his pants. And then like all of a sudden, and then like Genji starts fighting this actual elusive thing, the second elusive thing, who he doesn't actually see in the scene, but then like finds one arrow and he's like, it can't be or whatever, and then like he starts going after Hanzo.
Yeah, it's funny where I thought you were going with that, which I thought was kind of interesting, is you think Genji is a bad guy.
That's what I thought you meant.
Because, like, I'm not saying that's also good, but do you?
That's what I mean. Like, he jumps out of the shadows the first time you see him, and he's like...
No. But you don't find out in that scene that that's the case. What you do is, he attacks, like, an office building. It belongs to Hanzo, but you don't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't
so he goes in to attack his office building.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, they go after him because he's a scourge, who's been... The Shimada Corporation is, they
bring you in to do something, and you're like, oh, this is what I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and then they find out through the course of the episode.
This guy's like hacking in, like breaking all our shit,
right?
And then you find out that they're actually the bad guys. Yeah. That's totally.
And then he sort of mysteriously disappears at the end of the episode, and it's like,
no, they just like look to go anyway, and he's just gone.
Yeah.
Or better yet, though, like Hanzo calls the Overwatch for help in fighting this nebulous threat, and then you find out that Hanzo's the bad. The Overwatch find out that Hanzo's the corrupt one, and
right.
And then they make him cry. They're like, "This is your brother, you hate asshole."
Well, I like that because like he doesn't know that it's Genji because he assumes he's dead because he killed him, right?
Right.
So, like, there's like some dude is coming in and like wrecking our shit. And then you find out that he's
the one at the beginning of the episode who says it can't be because he finds a shuriken.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like it's
like,
a shuriken.
That's perfect.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Like he because
he's been dead for X years.
It's a shuriken in the coffee.
Just dumped in there. Yeah. But I like the idea that because what's cool about Hanzo is that like he feels shitty for what he did. He's like, I need to make reparations for the fact that I murdered my brother, and like he's evil. Well, not evil, but like he's corrupt and is like a part of a crime family, but like again, he's not part of town. Like he's a quote unquote bad guy that is like a recurring quote unquote villain, but he also has a heart. Like he feels bad for the fact that he betrayed his family to protect his business.
Right.
And I think that you can have those those bad guys where you can sympathize.
He's in a gray area. I mean, I feel like like Hanzo feels like a character he would be redeemed but not entirely.
Yeah,
Like,
you don't know where
he's not going to join
ever, right?
Overwatch, but he's not going to. He's going to have to choose between two evils at some point.
Well, you have those episodes of X-Men or whatever where like they team up with the like lesser bad guys to do something, or like even in like I don't know, I'm sure like in Batman like she teams up with like Harley Quinn or whatever like to solve some larger evil, and like this I can see totally Hanzo filling that role where he's like he's pretty evil, but he's also like a beloved character that everyone's like, oh man, it's a Hanzo episode, cool, I like this character.
Yeah,
I feel like you could actually have a really cool similar episode with Sombra where like there's the Overwatch go to fight like the Los Muertos or whatever. And then, like, Sombra, they run across Sombra who's going, like, a rose.
Guys?
Like, the glowing skull head guys.
Yeah,
where she comes from. I think she was a member of them.
Yeah.
And then, like, they kind of run into Sombra who's, like, or maybe she attacks them at the front of it, or something happens. You know what I mean? Where she's, like, actively against Los Muertos, or they're trying to kill her, or something.
The opposite. Yeah, well, she thinks she's a friend, and then she ends up being, like, betraying them or something.
Well, I was going to say, like, I feel like it's, like, they fight her the whole time, but then they realize that like they both realize they have to team up just for this one
and they hate
thing.
each other.
And it's like awkward and weird, and they're like giving each other shit. Like like if she's hacking like to get them in, and like they're wondering whether they can trust her or not. You know, and then she comes through.
You gotta have
you know what I mean? Like it feels like she does come through, but then she also does like you find out that she also stole plans for something at the end of the episode. You know, it's like
she just Catwoman's. Right. She's fully Catwoman, right? Where she's like, she helps you out, but only as far as it like helps her achieve her goals. Yeah, right. Totally.
But then there's like there's just this one little smidge of like something she said to Tracer or something that's like just suggests at the end when she leaves, like maybe she's not as bad as we thought. Right. You know what I mean? Like there's like this glimmer.
Well, she has an opportunity somewhere in the episode to do something evil and doesn't do it, but then you find out that she did something else that was evil, that was not quite as evil as that other thing. You know,
she like hacks Tracer, but then like doesn't kill her or something. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like.
I needed to disable you to get these plans or this priceless artifact that I needed. Yeah. So we're pretty close to an hour, but I did want to touch on another thing really quickly as far as like recurring characters that aren't part of the main villain cast, which is Roadhog and Junkrat. And I think that we were talking before the show. We were talking about them being the bulk and skull of the show. Which, if you don't know who that is, it's the two like. Not antagonists, but antagonists of the original Power Rangers.
They're like the social antagonists.
So like Power Rangers, like you have the like they're in their suits fighting the bad guys half, and the teenagers at school dealing with school stuff half, right? And they're the like bullies that try and bully these incredibly attractive teenagers, like muscular teenagers. And there's like a big fat guy and a skinny guy, and they're always trying to sneak around the bushes to try and find out what's going on. Like, what are these guys up to?
They're comic relief.
Yeah, but they're like. Annoying butthole comic, like they're always getting in the way, and you have to like pull their ass out of the fire, and like, but they
they want to be evil. They're kind of inept at it.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So I think that these guys, you probably want them to skew a little bit more on the evil side or like the like antagonistic side, because the two characters from the Power Rangers show are pretty harmless. But I think that these guys
mischief feels like the right word to me. Like
mischief's a good
if they're mischievous and they try and just cause havoc.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like it's not the sort of like Talon scale havoc that's getting caused in the world, but it's still annoying that the Overwatch has to deal with it, because it would be a problem if they kept doing it.
And the way that I imagine it is they don't have like grand schemes or plans or like, we're going to steal the 3 pieces of the Weather Dominator, take over the world. They're just kind of being chaotic and having fun.
And they also get hired in by like Talon to do stuff sometimes. Yeah. Like, so like,
But they're always like they'll get hired, but then like they're decoys, kind of like they know that
they think they've made friends, but they really haven't made friends.
So they keep getting hired, and like but they're just to draw the Overwatch towards them. And Talon does something else.
You can even have them just be like wannabe members of Talon and be like, if we do this, can we join Talon? They're like, absolutely, totally. You can totally join Talon.
Yeah, totally.
Like a running gag forever.
And then Roadhog like farts, and then like
guess not.
And Rainmaker's like, like
yeah. So we actually did talk a little bit before we sign off about talent. Because we didn't really talk about it much. And like who's leading that? And it feels like Reaper's the natural.
Has to be. But he's the Cobra Commander, right? Like you have to have the guy with the mask be the. That's how I feel about it. Like you have to have the guy who don't know what his face is, because then you can have that reveal of like the leader Talon used to be a good guy kind of thing, right? Which is we'll probably
then that's the episode where it's like him and Soldier. Like when they were young,
absolutely.
You see that sort of stuff going on.
By the way, if you didn't know that, spoiler alert. He was a Overwatch. He was in the like Black Ops.
Blackwatch.
What are you spoiling? It's not like
I don't know. People
I can't play the video game now. The first-person shooter.
Well, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, but I mean, it is that, and that's again like it's a classic like '80s cartoon-esque. Oh, we were once friends, but now we're mortal enemies. Like, that's such a perfect, and it could totally be him and Soldier that just like go at it because he was like a founding member, I think, of original Overwatch. So that seems to me like a natural.
Well, it's like whenever they meet up, like he and Soldier have the exchanges.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
kind of thing.
They're like when they're firing at each other over chest high walls.
You never quite see the big picture.
Yeah,
that's my Reaper voice.
Yeah,
I guess.
it's really good. Yeah. That's what he sounds without the mask on.
Yeah, exactly.
Just 50s guy.
You could also have an interesting episode where
30s guy.
In the lore, from what I've read, it's like they both didn't die in the same explosion that they were thought to be dead in.
Each think the other person's dead.
Yeah, but then like they find out
blame each other for it.
Well, they find out who did it in one episode, and then they both go after him, and they have to work together. You know what I mean? It's like you could have an interesting episode like that.
That'd be good,
like, where and then you get a different kind of Reaper episode. You know, where he plays just a different role for once, kind of like the way we do with Sombra and Los Muertos. Like, there's all that really cool stuff in the lore that like just. You know, and then like similarly with Symmetra, the worst fucking character of all time. But like you know, she kind of like
character of all time.
I mean, I just
fucking annoying to play.
I just
super overpowered.
So much.
Blizzard, please.
But I've tweeted Blizzard.
Have you really?
I mean, like if you guys don't,
I quit.
Nerf Symmetra, I'm not.
We're not making a Saturday morning cartoon show.
Yeah, they're like okay, Chris.
Yeah,
we got it. Yeah,
they call you on the phone.
Yeah, but like you could have an episode with her where she, you know. What's the backstory with her? She
works for a corporation. She's part of like a large corporation, I think. Right?
Yeah, she kind of
she's like an engineer. She's like an engineer for some like neutral but like super like.
The corporation she works for is evil, but she is not. She's kind of more of a.
She's sort of an evil enabler.
So she secretly tries to get Overwatch in to do something about. You know what I mean?
Sometimes, or at least she strikes me as a character who. And she feels less defined to me than some of the other characters, but she strikes me as somebody who is going to listen to logic and reason over anything else. And so, like, she does strike me as somebody that Overwatch could convince, to help them, even though it was against her company and her wishes or whatever.
But I could also see her being like, the company understands the need for order, and like my life is in this company and the structure is super ordered. So even if good guys come in and start like fucking. Like messing up the works, I can see her being like, "You need to leave. Like you are. I asked you to come in to do something, or like it's like, hey, I'm going to hire you to solve a problem." And then they show up and just like wreck shop because there are a bunch of guys shooting guns and whatever.
Right.
And she's like, "Okay, never like fuck, no way. Like this is not what I wanted." Maybe she even goes evil to try and like stop them from like, you know what I mean? Like I can see
she's just trying to balance out the scales.
She's super
all the time.
neutral, right? Like she's not. She doesn't really give a shit about the large, like, save the world stuff. She's like, my little box needs to be perfectly ordered. And if she's good guys are fucking with it or bad guys are fucking with it, I don't care. They both need to leave. So she kind of just like is super neutral and be like, you guys fight over there. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take care of my little corner right here. And as soon as someone messes with that, they are the bad person to her, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Is there a movie we haven't talked about?
There's a ton. There's like 300 characters. Yeah, we only touched on talent. If you wanted to dive more into talent,
well, and I also think like Widowmaker's going to be one of those like a big character.
Oh yeah,
like, she's going to be usually
she's the cutest,
usually
right?
Influential.
I don't know if you
what
the cutest. Okay, so in Star Trek, there's a 2-part episode where the Borg, who are like super evil, like cyber and like high mind.
Yeah, they try to assimilate.
They do successfully assimilate Captain Picard.
Right.
He becomes their like mouthpiece. He becomes their like speaker, and he's the one who goes on like the comms and talks to them and taunts them and stuff. And they just do the big rescue mission to get him back. And they do because it's a show where happy endings happen. But like Widowmaker's backstory is like she was a good guy, yeah. And then she got brainwashed and turned into this like femme fatale assassin.
And her skin is blue because her heart only beats like 3 beats.
Which is not how skin works, I don't think. But
yeah,
But that's the comic version, right?
I don't think a lot of this game is how reality works.
No, of course not. But like that idea is monkeys on top. The idea that like she is a character they feel like they need to rescue constantly, and she either resists that, or they fail, or she fights them, or like it just never. It's like a tragic thing where they keep trying to save her and they just can't do it.
Who is it that knew her before she was it Tracer? Like I feel like
so.
I think maybe Tracer did.
Somebody did, but I don't know.
No, Tracer's in the video like fighting her in the short, like fighting her.
Right,
but Tracer's also the newest character.
Right. Well, I guess in our version. I'm just talking about in the actual.
I want to say it's Soldier, like before he got turned or something, but
it's got to be one of the OG. Like,
she was part of Overwatch,
right?
Yeah.
So
she
old Overwatch.
She was like married to a guy who was part.
But I'm saying like she existed as a good person in that era, like old Overwatch era. So it's probably Winston or Soldier.
But she was brainwashed into killing her husband. That's basically what it is,
right? Yeah.
And so, that's a very super tragic thing, and but she doesn't know that. I don't think.
Right.
So it's like. There's definitely maybe an episode where she does Rumbling Start or like
the
season 2 or season 3 episode where she finds out.
Yeah.
And then she either gets brainwashed back or, turns
like,
for a while.
You can restore her memories, but that means she's going to know what she did. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to...
Or she's too evil even, like she's too far gone, she thinks, so she doesn't go good. Like,
but I think the idea of them consistently, like, making that like a sub-thread that just continues. Where, like, there's even an episode where they get her back and like they start working on her and then like they talent
her skin turns whatever natural color it is.
Right, yeah. And I think that's a cool, weird, tragic thing to add into the show as well, for sure.
Yeah. She starts dancing ballet again.
What she did?
Yeah, she was a ballet dancer, I guess.
Okay. All right, Blizzard, take it easy.
Well, that's why she's got those like really theatrical outfits with like the bird mask and the ribbons.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of characters we haven't included. I feel like Anna, like in our version, it would be fun if we caught up with like Soldier and like she was running road with him, kind of like the Zoe and Mel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we haven't talked about Farrah either.
Yeah, but I feel like Farrah, like you need to have. I feel like you could have one of them on the team.
Yeah,
and then you have an episode where you go to meet the other one. You know what I mean?
Right,
That's like where the relationship.
Well, also, okay, so you have. I think you have Farrah, and then I believe that Anna and Reinhardt are her parents.
Reinhardt?
Yes. I think it's Reinhardt.
I've never heard. I know that Anna is her mother.
Yeah, I think it's Reinhardt. That's her dad. I might be wrong, so sorry if I'm wrong, Overwatch fans. But somebody is supposed to be her father, like somebody who's in the Overwatch.
Oh, really? Okay.
Or somebody who's in the game.
Anna doesn't know because she's just all over all of them.
It was a wild time back then. Parties all the time.
It was back in the 60s.
Yeah. The 3060s. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So I like the idea that Farrah has this other obligation, which is this like military career, and she almost feels like split between two worlds, where she has this like career with these people. She cares about these people that it's not like superheroes. There's like average people, and she's like cause she's got the crazy rock, like the jump pack suit and the rocket. Like she's like the coolest like badass of that army squad. Mm-hmm. But she's also in Overwatch, and she has like maybe like Anna is there, like being like, you need to pick one, or you have to choose Overwatch. Like that's doing more good. And she's like, I had this other career. Don't tell me what to do, Mom. I have this other thing going on. Like she feels like split.
It could be a point of contention, cool. Yeah, like between her and her mom, or she just doesn't join the team. Like she's just like, I'm going to stay in Egypt.
She just makes a decision one day to leave and go do her military thing, and that's how you like cycle some of the episode characters.
Yeah, well, in the lore, she's never been in Overwatch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, she just like circumvents the actual story. She's just Anna's.
She just kind of circles around it.
Yeah, she's kind of Anna's daughter.
I mean, maybe they like trying to recruit her.
She was in the military. There.
Yeah, she is
chief security officer or something.
Yeah. But like the idea that they try and recruit her, and maybe like there's a whole episode where she's like not sure. Like that's the thing I see in a lot of like serialized shows. She's like there's a whole episode of like trying to make up her mind, and she's going to talk to people, get their perspectives, and like let me tell you why I joined. And then she talks to her mom, and her mom's like, listen, you do whatever you need to do. Like be true to yourself.
So she has a husband too, I think, or something. And so like it'd be interesting if her father. No, but like Farrah trying to figure out if she, if she does this, that means like leaving her husband behind.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a big deal to her. and then she chooses her husband.
Yeah, I was going to say get her into
you know him. You get to meet him in the show, and he's like a nice guy, and you understand why she.
His name's Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, and then what else we not talking
Orisa.
About? Yeah, she's too new.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, like she's probably a late season ad. Then like I feel like she'd be like season 4 or something, and then like you meet Effie or whatever. Like you meet her first, and you see her build Orisa, in the episode.
Yeah, I like that idea because then you have to protect her.
Like Torbjorn helps her or something.
Yeah. Or gets over his like,
or he doesn't help her, and then she does it herself. And impresses the shit out of
That's
him.
what I'm saying. Like he goes, okay, I guess it's still fine to like make robots so you can make good robots. It's fine. Like the fact that he still isn't sure about making like intelligent technology because he's all these like things that he regrets, Yeah, like that. Done. We got her in.
Well, I feel like that's it then.
That seems really good.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really good show.
This is a good show.
I actually want to work on this.
Yeah, too bad.
All right, Blizzard, if you're listening, hire us to create a Saturday morning cartoon based on your game.
I'm really
that you all love.
surprised that Blizzard has, now that they're making movies and stuff, I'm surprised that they're genuinely not reaching out to other types of media like that. And Overwatch, honestly, seems like it was, like, jokes aside from our episode, like, it seems like it was tailor-made for that.
Yeah.
It's so many action figures, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. God, I would buy all of them.
Yeah.
Well, and then skins of each
They're
one.
starting to do some...
They have some not Funko Pops. They have the Nendroid.
Yeah, well, Tracer has. It's. I don't think Funko made it, but it's kind of a Funko.
They have Funko Pops. They definitely have Reaper and that's actually it's a good point because I never buy toys. When I first started playing this game, and Junk was my main at first, and I was like, I wanted Junkrat.
Yeah,
they didn't make one, and I was upset.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, merchandising is for sure a thing.
But like because the character mode is so cool.
And at the same time, though, like I do respect that. Like I was sided with Bill Watterson in the Calvin and Hobbes merchandising stuff because it was like you are taking away something from it by doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not entirely free. Even though it is supporting the fandom and having people who really like it, get what they want. People getting what they want and the integrity of the thing are not always mutually.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah,
it's a very slippery slope.
I mean, it's a whole nother discussion, but like a whole nother can of worms to open at the end here. But it's like what's happened to Star Wars? It's like it reduces things.
That's exactly how
the iconography and takes away from the heart and the story. Like I'm so sick of. And every time I hear a lightsaber now, it's almost like a regurgitating.
Yeah. No, that's honestly, like, that's why I'm sad about the fact that it's just going to be a yearly movie series now. Like, it used to be special and rare, and, like, now I just hear the Imperial theme all day on television, and it's lost a lot.
And, like, in every car commercial, there's a kid running around.
It's just, you'll never watch for Star Wars content, which is great for some people, but it's just become another license to be run into the ground, which is... Not necessarily, it is what it is, but that's just.
Well, I'm sad. What I wish George Lucas had done was just stopped making movies, and just kept it, and then wrote some sort of moratorium into his estate that said nobody can touch this ever. Like, copyright goes to this person who he trusts, and then they keep it. Like, because I feel like you're right. I think it takes away from the characters. Like, as much as I love Phil Lord and Chris Miller, that's their names, or Chris Miller and Phil Lord? I don't really know. But anyway, the guys...
the same names, you said them in two different orders.
It's Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller?
Because Phil Miller is the lead character in Last Man on Earth.
So those guys are doing the Han Solo movie, right? And if anybody who's working these days, I trust them. They did a great job with Lego Movie. 21 Jump Street was way better than it ever should have been. Like, they're smart guys. They understand the content that they're working on. I just don't give a fucking shit about Han Solo's young career because I think it's going to take away from his character.
Yeah. The mystique of that character is much more important than knowing everything.
The whole thing is that he kind of shows up as this, he's got this checkered past, and knowing the checkeredness of it doesn't help your imagination.
He murders somebody in the first 5 minutes you see him.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the idea, whatever you see in your head for that character is going to always be more interesting, more personally attached to you than whatever you see on the screen.
Exactly. And that's why, like, the 5 lines that Obi-Wan has in Star Wars about Darth Vader is more interesting than all of the prequels combined. Yeah, because you can just imagine it. But anyway, I think that's it for us.
That was a really solid pilot. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah. Join us next time when we talk about
Bob's Burgers.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was the next one.
Oh, I was trying to leave some space there.
You got it right.
Okay.
No, it's Bob's Burgers. We're going to talk about Bob's Burgers, which is a great show, and we're going to try turning it into an adventure game. What kind of adventure game? I don't know. Point and click, LucasArts, Telltale style. Not sure. We'll figure it out when we start talking about it.
What a cliffhanger.
Did it.
And if you haven't seen Bob's Burgers, you might want to catch up on all 7 episodes in the next week. Goodbye.
7 episodes or 7?
God damn it.
Well, start the whole podcast over again.
But which 7?
Yeah. Pick the most important 7. No, it's a great show. You should be watching it anyway. It's really good and has a lot of heart in it. And we'll be talking about that in the next episode. So see you then.
Thanks for spending an hour and a half listening to this drivel. Goodbye.
You're going to cut that out of the final thing.
Hey, that's it for this week's show. If you'd like to find out more about us, please follow us at StoryedCast on Twitter. And if you have any feedback for the show or any ideas for future episodes, please email us at storiedcast@gmail.com. Storied is Sean Ainsworth, Chris Rebbert, and Harrison Pink. And our music, as always, is by the amazing Jared Emerson Johnson. Thank you for listening.